Hey you guys, what's up? This is James here at Unique Perspectives. Thought I'd make another video. I wanted to talk about the idea of rejection, more specifically for men when it comes to the dating world and just trying to shoot our shot and try to connect with ladies. I really want to just touch on some things because obviously as a man, I have had to experience a lot of these things. There are a lot of lessons I think that comes with receiving rejection, preparing for rejection, and just kind of in a general sense, understanding that it is inevitable. It's something that we're all going to have to face one way or another. So I wanted to just address that and just kind of share some of my own insights regarding rejection because I think that it's something that every man has to not only prepare for, but we need to know how to manage it. I want to just get into that. This is James here at Unique Perspectives, and yeah, let's get into the topic. So one of the reasons why I actually was motivated to make this video is based on a situation that I had many years ago. I'm going to say almost 16, 17 years ago. I was working at a job, and I actually thought a lady was really cool who came in, and this is somebody that worked at the facility that I worked at. Really cool, mild-mannered lady. I initially didn't find her very physically attractive. I just thought, oh, just regular lady. But as I started to get to know her, spending time with her over a series of months, I started to develop feelings for her. I really liked the way that she was thinking. She was a very down-to-earth lady, and I just thought, man, I have to shoot my shot and have to give myself an opportunity to just at least try. And so I actually made the decision to have flowers sent to her when I was out for vacation for a week. And back then, I did not take a lot of vacations at all. I was just a workaholic, a mistake I feel like I made as a younger man. I remember being very, very excited that I wanted to make the decision to actually buy flowers for someone that I was attracted to. This was the first time I was about to buy flowers for someone. I was very excited. I think she's Mexican, if I remember specifically. And like I said, very down-to-earth lady. So I feel like she was just a catch, a very mild-mannered lady. Wasn't really into drama, just very kickback, very cool. And so I just thought, let me just try. And I remember my older sister went with me to the flower shop to try to figure out which flowers I was going to buy her. And I think I ended up buying like a dozen roses. I spent maybe $50 at the time. Because of inflation and time, that same amount might be, I don't know, it might be close to $100 now, but I spent about $50 because I wanted to make sure that she understood that I was very interested in her. I was genuinely interested. I really wanted to get her attention. I wanted to establish something with her. And I was under the impression that, like the Disney movies and the romantic comedies, if I put this effort in, she would respond, in the way that I wanted her to respond. And just kind of getting to the point, I eventually sent the flowers. I was not around. I didn't send a card. She was surprised, but it was for her. Everyone at the facility thought, wow, this lady, we're surprised she's getting flowers. There were other ladies there that was, I would say they would share a lot more femininity with their personality. So a lot of them were surprised from what I heard that she received flowers and not them. And it wasn't even Valentine's or anything like that. But when I came back from vacation, she actually, I guess using deductive reasoning, realized that it was me. And she basically said, James, you know what? I am actually very pleased and very flattered that you gave me flowers. And we took a little walk on our break. And she just expressed to me that she was just very grateful to receive the flowers, and she was very flattered. So for me, I was very excited because I'm thinking I'm going to have a girlfriend finally. I thought that things worked out like it did in the movies. And she expressed to me something that I was not really expecting. And she essentially told me that because she valued me so much as a friend, that she didn't want to risk losing me as a friend by us actually venturing into dating. Now, I was a little confused by the response because I thought, why not just date if I'm that valuable? But I was actually very flattered to hear that. And so as a younger man, and both of us were probably in our early to mid 20s, I just accepted that, and I was very flattered. I thought, well, that's very nice that she doesn't want to risk the friendship, so I was okay with that. It wasn't until later on I started to reevaluate the whole situation. I thought to myself, we don't actually text. We don't go anywhere outside of work. I don't actually think we're friends. And so I was actually very bitter about the situation. I'm going to say for a good maybe 24 months, maybe 2 years or so. I was actually very bitter about the whole situation. And I kept thinking how stupid it was for me to actually invest in buying flowers for someone. And not only her, but I just started to develop a disdain for dating and relationships just based on that one situation. Just fast forwarding, obviously I'm in a much healthier place now, not only as a more confident man, but as a Christian man. My identity is in Jesus Christ. I understand my value now. I understand the type of woman that I should be investing in. For example, Proverbs 31:30 says, charm is deceitful, beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. So this is a verse that I bring up very often because it's important that a man has a biblical standard when it comes to what type of woman he's willing to invest in. So that is one of the things that I think that a lot of us guys need to figure out is what type of woman or what class of woman are we investing in? And more importantly, are we reflecting the type of person that that person would want to be with? So I think that's important to consider. Another point I want to really just go into is the idea that when it comes to our interest in people, we have to accept the reality that we aren't going to always be everyone's type. And I know that sometimes it's difficult for us to accept that, but life does not work in some type of magical story, from a Disney or, like I said, romantic comedy. There are going to be times when you're not going to be tall enough. You're not going to be maybe the person that particular lady is actually interested in, or that guy. You're not going to have the right height for them. You may not have the right complexion for them. Some people are very specific with certain complexions that they are interested in. Some people are interested in certain hair textures. Some people like curly hair, blonde hair, black hair. Some people don't care, and other people have certain preferences. They want a kinky style. I think that it's really important that we accept this, that we understand that you're not going to be everyone's type. I know that it's sometimes very difficult for a lot of us guys, especially because in our Western world, it already seems like it's very difficult for us to already obtain a relationship with somebody that just likes us for who we are, and so I know that it can be very difficult and sound very difficult. And I think that for some situations, it even can cause certain men to go into depression. It feels like, wow, I don't have the right body size. I don't have the right approach or personality or whatever. And the good news is you can actually improve on those things. You can actually decide that you want to improve. Like even today, for example, today is Sunday afternoon, and already this morning I went for a run, and I would exercise. And I have asthma, so it's not very easy for me. But I don't allow that to stop me from running and exercising and just walking for an hour or two, anytime that I have the opportunity to, whether it's before or after work or on my days off. I want to be fit. So not only to be healthy, but if I'm connecting with a lady, I want to have, an appearance where I'm strong, that I look healthy, that I am healthy, and I can potentially build a family. And I'm a healthy father and healthy husband. So I think that it's important just to accept that although we can improve on certain things, like I said, we can improve on different aspects of how we approach people, how we take care of our health, all sorts of things. But we have to accept the reality that you're not always going to be everyone's type. There are times when I had to learn the hard way that some people were not interested in maybe a man that is black. There are times when, the lady explained to me very clearly that she was not interested in Christian men, and I could argue, hey, a Christian man is one of the best suited men that you want to establish a relationship with. And I can try to argue with her, but it also could be a waste of time trying to coerce somebody to select me when there are other people that won't hesitate to select me. And so I think that it's something I really want to emphasize throughout this video is you do not want to waste your time trying to convince people to love you and give you a chance when there are other people that wouldn't give you a hard time, the people that would appreciate the natural personality, the natural strengths, and even weaknesses that you have. They will love the opportunity, but I think that the tricky part is to recognize when it's time to sever ties, leave the people alone that tells you clearly and shows you with their actions they're not interested, so you can move on to someone that actually is interested in you. One of the things I really want to also bring up, and this is my third point, and this is something I think we don't always consider, is that just as other people have a type, so do you. You have a type. I was actually speaking with one of my best friends like over 10 years ago, and I was going on one of my regular nice guy rants. Oh, I'm not being selected. All these girls are not looking my way. There's a lot of ladies overlooking me. They only want bad guys. They only want thugs. They only want drug dealers. They're not choosing me. They're not choosing a good man. And he had to remind me that I also rejected my share of ladies. I rejected ladies as well. And what he did that was very humbling to me is he started reciting their names. He said, hey, remember Maria, the Filipina, who was trying to go to your house and bring you baked goods, and meet your mom because she was trying to connect with you? Or what about this lady who, allowed you to come into her home and you guys would watch a series of TV shows, or you would just spend time with all these different people, or maybe you didn't spend time and that was the thing. You knew from the beginning you weren't interested in those people or those ladies, and so you rejected them. And so I think that I needed to hear that. I needed to be reminded that not only have I been rejected, but I have actually rejected people as well. And I would challenge you guys, whether you're male or female, think about that. You have actually rejected some people that were interested in you. Maybe they just weren't your type. They weren't attractive enough to you. Maybe they were too short for you. Maybe you felt like they didn't have the right voice, or they didn't have the right hygiene, or whatever. But you didn't want to be with certain people either. So I think it's really humbling and important to realize that not only are other people rejecting us, but we have rejected people as well. So it's very humbling, at least for me, when my good friend actually reminded me that I was also in that camp. The last point I really want to emphasize is not to waste time trying to insult people, put people down, give people a hard time just because they didn't select you. I think that one of the difficulties that a lot of us have, especially men, and I'm not going to lie, I know the difficulty that men have in the West. There's a lot of ladies that will bypass really great, amazing men for some guy that will use them, abuse them. And, I've had ladies tell me right to my face, James, I know you're a good man. I know you would never cheat on me. I know you're faithful. I know you are a hard worker. I know you would sacrifice for me. I'm just not interested. I'm not interested. I want Tyrone. I want Pookie. I want somebody. The other guy, I know your character, I know your personality, I know what to expect from you, but I want that other guy. And I think that there are a lot of us that can make things difficult for ourselves because we are willing to waste time and insult people that are just not interested. And I think that we need to respect their boundaries, just like we have our own boundaries and we have our own preferences. We have our own interest, For example, everybody who knows me knows that I need to have a woman who loves God. So I'm not talking about a woman that just talks about God. I need to be with someone that actually demonstrates in her lifestyle that she actually loves and honors the Lord first before she wants to honor somebody else or potentially be with me. I need to see in her life that she's actually honoring the Lord. Another little preference I have is I like a lady with pretty feet. People always joke with me about, the fact that that's one of my preferences, but it's just something that I developed, and obviously that could be very subjective, right? I have my own understanding of what that means. But again, I have my own preferences, and it's okay to have your own preferences. So I just want to remind you guys that you don't want to waste time putting people down, insulting people, saying that you're being overlooked, when you can use that time to not only better yourself as a human being, whether it's exercise, whether it's really seeking God and actually becoming more confident, understanding your identity in Christ, but also using that time to go find someone that's actually interested in you for who you are. Maybe it is another Christian woman that might be at a church nearby your house. Maybe it might be someone overseas. Maybe it's a lady that, you yourself bypassed and you overlooked, and she's still interested. And, this is somebody that actually would fulfill those desires that you have for companionship, and you guys can help each other out mutually. So I just want to throw that out there. And I hope this video was very helpful, because I feel like a lot of guys, we don't have a lot of support. There's a lot of people that are telling us outrageous advice when it comes to our lives, how to conduct ourselves. You have the red pill, the manosphere, you have the blue pill, black pill, you have all this stuff coming out there, and it can be very confusing, and it can be very difficult for a lot of us to manage. Who do we listen to? Where do we get our information from? But I think the best source is the Word of God. That even if you're not Christian, you're still better off adopting biblical principles and finding someone that loves the Lord, because it's just, it's very tricky when you don't have guidelines to live by, as a worldview. So hope this was very helpful. God bless you guys. This is James here at Unique Perspectives. I'll see you on the next one, and peace.